impactful coding. In this video, we're going to be going through easy things you can do right now to increase your chances in landing an internship during your freshman year. So one of the first things you need to do is obviously to land an interview, to get the interview. And how to get an interview? To have a good resume. You need the resume to capture recruiters' eyes. It needs to be easy to read, and the one way to do that is to have a very clean format. So what you want to do is put your name on the top as well as your contact info. The reason why you want your name bolded and standing out is because you want the recruiter to know whose resume they're reading. So most recruiters tend to read somewhere around hundreds to thousands of resumes at a time. So it's best to keep the resume easy on the eyes. You don't want to miss an opportunity just because your recruiter decided to not read your resume because of how sloppy it looks, and they decide to toss it aside. And in many application websites these days, when they ask you to upload a resume, the website has like an algorithm that automatically sort of filters out each section of resume. So like it will be able to identify GPA pretty easily. If you have a really well formatted resume, it will get your education information, your work experience, as well as your projects if they collect that. And one of the things I like to do, especially because I didn't have any software engineering internships beforehand in my work experiences, I like to put my projects above that, just because projects, you don't really need to like get accepted into anything in order to start a project. A project starts off with an idea. One of the best ways to actually acquire technical skills is to create your own project from scratch. Like a lot of people will tell you that one of the best things to do is to watch Udemy courses or like online courses to learn these technical skills. But for me, I think that if you create a project from scratch, it will kind of force you to learn these technical skills in order to bring the project to life. And you're not learning to memorize, you're more learning to apply these things. It's much more practical, and you know that, and it's easy to remember because you're actually using them. That's why a lot of people tend to criticize American education, because they kind of force you to memorize things that you'll probably never use. But the great thing about software engineering is that a lot of these skills you can learn online, right? You can search up how to do something, like create a pop-up window for a website. Like you click on a button, it pops up something that has some information on it. You can actually search that up. There's a lot of great resources you can use, like Stack Overflow, for instance. So this is my resume. I say it's a pretty decent starting resume. As you can see, I have my name on top, my contact information, and my LinkedIn, which we're going to talk about later. My address, and as you can see, all the headings I have are bolded so that the recruiter can easily navigate through your resume. As you can see, I have my university, expected graduation year, just because you want the recruiter to know what year you are. Another thing I would put is relevant courses. So like for me, as a computer science major, I would list all my computer science courses, or any courses that I took that taught me some sort of programming skills. So I put data structures and algorithms, object-oriented programming, as well as this one Python class I took during my freshman year. And so technical skills, a lot of these skills I'm at least familiar with. So Java, Python, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, I've used those. So I'm pretty confident with them. Projects, mainly because none of my work experiences have anything to do with software engineering. So you want to put your GitHub so that the recruiter knows how to find the source code for all your projects. So I have a website that I made during the summer, as well as a few homeworks that I did for my data structures class. If you don't have a lot of projects to put down on your resume, it's not a bad idea to list some of your homeworks to display any programming skills that you use. So some of these I use popular data structures such as binary trees, hash tables, arrays, linked lists. And for work experience, what I would recommend you do for work experience is to, in your descriptions, try to highlight more of the soft skills rather than technical skills if it has nothing to do with software engineering. So if you did something with a team, let's say, then that's something that's great to highlight. If you work with clients, that's also really good because it demonstrates your leadership skills, your communication skills as well. And then you can put down some volunteer experiences that you may have. I know a lot of college students like to volunteer as an extracurricular.
in addition to what Yupen just said, a very important tip is to continue learning outside of class. Most entry-level college courses are focused on fundamentals, and some technologies used might be outdated. So it's on you to learn the newest technologies by yourself. A good way to start is to first pick an interest. Either it's front-end web development, back-end web development, or software development. Then find a roadmap that guides you through the technologies and skills, like types of programming languages and frameworks that you need to master what you are trying to do. For example, for front-end web development, you can go on GitHub to find a 2020 roadmap for front-end developer and follow the steps one by one to solidify your knowledge, such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, which are fairly easy to learn the basics and start building your own projects. If you're interested, we will link the roadmap down below. Once you get familiar with the technical skills needed, you can start working by yourself on small side projects. You should get going and find an idea to implement. It doesn't need to be very good. It could be simple projects like creating an alarm or making a simple to-do list. It's the process of doing that makes you learn better.
Okay, so networking is especially important in this industry, and it's not about like what you know, but more who you know. And that's just a fact that people who have referrals from within the company are more likely to get an interview compared to those who just cold apply. Now, we're going to be talking about 3 things that have helped us tremendously when it comes to networking. So number 1, LinkedIn, which I think is probably the most useful thing for me in this list. LinkedIn is a platform that allows you to connect with professionals. When you're looking for people in your network, what I would do is I would filter by school alumni who currently work at the company that I want to work in, and I would just send them a message with a connection request, just asking to talk. So number 2, clubs and events. They're just a great way to network. When I'm talking about clubs, I'm talking about like profession-based clubs, fraternities, or just hackathons. Like they're a really great way to meet people and interact with people with the same interests as you, and you never know, maybe they can offer you an opportunity in the future. Now, number 3 is career fairs. This is, I would say, is like optional for those who want to just take the extra mile. Now, as a freshman, it can be like very intimidating to go to a career fair when almost like every single recruiter is like looking for upperclassmen, right? But career fair is like a great way to talk to recruiters and just like start practicing as you become like a sophomore or a junior.